Recording in
Let's
progress.
get started. Today we will do a revision of topic 1 to 4 to conclude part 1. So basically, we will go through quite a few numbers of example to help you strengthen the foundation of part 1. And next week, roughly will take over the lecture. Continue with part 2 by the first topic will be functions. Can we start now? Okay, let's get started. So the first part of today is to review the content of last week, which is about formatted input and output. All right, so for formatted the output, we will use printf with various specifier, like a conversion specifier. We can format the position of the output or the precision of the output using the field width and the precision. We can also format the alignment of the output, whether it's left alignment or right alignment, using different types of flag. So just a recap, for formatting outputs, field width and precisions are the most commonly used specifier for us. So you already know the specifier, conversion specifier, right? We use %d or %i for integer for numbers. %f or lf is for floating point numbers, and %c for character, %s for string. And then to define the length or the space of the output, we use the field width. And then if we want to further define the precision or the length of the string that to be printed out, we'll use precision. Okay, and it's just a summary of the previous lectures. I don't think I will go through on this. Just this slide is important because it's combine everything into one statement. So we have printf plus % as a keywords here, and we have width and then precision and then the conversion specifier, and then we put the value that we want to print out. Okay, so with printf, you can print multiple outputs also, right? Not just one. If you have 2 variables, 3 variables, multiple variables, we can include multiple so-called formatting string like this. So one, we combine all the formatting string into in between these 2 double quote size here. Okay, so for this example, you know that with this printf, we want to print out %f. Here is a floating point number. 9.3 means we will reserve 9 spaces for this. And 0.3 means the precision for floating point number. Precision means the number of decimal place to be printed out. And based on that, the output we will have is 123.457. And it will be printed in the 9-digit field. Okay. The other way, there's another way for us to define the field width and precision using the %stars or stars like this, and we pass the argument of width and precision into this star point star using this format. So this is a different syntax only. So it's up to you to use the syntax that's more familiar to you. Okay. And then flex just shared by default, the result will be on the right, will be right aligned in the dedicated field width. But if we want to make it into left alignment, we can use the minus sign. We have plus sign to include a plus sign for all positive value, and minus sign preceding the negative values. Okay, if we want to have the space for positive value, we can put a space there. So it will make your positive and negative number align properly. Okay, all right. So I think learning through on this rule as an example will be easier for you. So I have a few examples here. Have you tried it at home? Anyone try it at home or not? So the first example here, I have printf %a equal %5c and then x. Okay. Sorry, I missed out the value here. Okay. Now, what does it mean by x here? Okay. So if I pass in the value of x, it will contain, but what is the formatting % here? How can we write the output of this statement? So the first one will be 5, right? And then whatever value of x here, because we bring out a character. So this one we bring out a character, and then this we want to print out a character x here. So where we should place a character x by the first statement, printf statement, where? Left or right? Which position it should be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which position the character x should be in the output? Yeah, it is here. It should be here because we reserve 5 space for the output, right? Now the second printf, b equal to % minus c, minus 5c. What does it mean here? Where will be x in the output? Number 1, because the minus mean left alignment. And how about this? 0, the last one, 0, 5c, what does it mean? What does it mean by that 0? So we will have a leading padding 0 in front of the x to fill in the provided field, right? So, and this one is a result. Okay? Now let's move on to the second example. How about the result, the output of this one? So in this example, we bring out string. And in order to bring out a string, we will use a format, the conversion specifier s here. So you see a equal to %11s. So I have 11 space here, right? Because 11 here define the field width. So how can I write a marshmallow output from the first printf? Where it should be? Where should it be? From where to where? So marshmallow has how many character does it have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 characters, right? Eight characters only, right? Marshmallow. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 10 characters. Sorry, my bad. So there's 10 character, right? And we are given 11 space. So where does it will be filled in fill with space? It will be like this, right? By default, the output will be right alignment, and the space will be the front space will be empty. Now the second printf, b equal to % minus. So similar to the previous case, right? Minus here doesn't mean I bring out a minus 11 number, but it means that the text printed out will be left aligned. Okay, so we'll bring out from 1 to 10. Okay, good. Now, how about c equal to 11.5 as there? How can we have 0.5 for a string? A string doesn't have any floating point. It is not a number, right? So how can we have 0.5 there? What does it mean by 0.5? What does it mean by precision in string format? What does it mean? Anyone remember what does it mean by precision for string? Right? All right. 0.5 here means the length of the string to be printed out, or the number of characters. Yes, 5 decimal is used for floating point numbers, but we are printing out a string. So it's a number of characters to be printed out, 5, and we will bring out the first 5 characters only. And we have 11 space, right? So it will be filled in the right-hand side of the given space like this. Okay. Now, how about D? D equal to minus. So similar to C, right? We also print out 5 characters, but in this case, it will be left aligned. And lastly, for E, similar to previous case, we have 0 in front, and there are 5 characters to be printed out, right? And it will be right aligned. That's why the previous 6 space will be filled with 0. And this is the final result. Okay, and if you run this code at home, you can see something similar to this. So any questions so far? No, right? So for 4, 3, and 4, we ignore the 11. No, 3 and 4, where is it? 3 and 4, the Nicole, you asked me about 3 and 4. So 3 and 4, the 11 here, define the number of space. So we still have 11 space here, right? But number 3, we will First of all, 11 gives us a number of space that we use for this output. And then 5 define the number of characters to be printed out. We will not print out the entire marshmallow word anymore. We only print out 5 characters, which is defined by this. Okay, so 11 will define will have us to specify the number of space given to the output. And 5 here allows us to identify the length of the string to be printed out. Non-numeric conversion. So yes, there will be padding in front if the text is printed out following the right position, right alignment. So it will fill in front if you have the padding flag here. What about specific letter in a string? What is it? Hongjin, what is your question? What about a specific letters in a string? No, cannot. You will need to redefine. We cannot put in another number like that. I mean, we cannot replace 0 with 1 to 1 or 1 or something. We need to reformat the string in a different way. If I want to, Hongjin, if I want an A in marshmallow. In this case, you will need to use some function with string format. It will be covered in week 12 when you already learned about array. Because internally a string is handled as an array of character. So for now, we learn the basics first. How to print out specific element, specific character at specific location of the string. You will learn it in later part when we learn about array already. So there's one separate library for us to handle character and string, and you can learn it in week 12. Okay? So for now it's very basic. Length, the length as position as length, and the space, the field width, and number of space reserved for the output. Okay. Now, next one will be the integer. If I have an integer x, 1, 2, 3 like this, and I have very different printf statement like this, what will be the result? So first, a equal to x. So where should x 1, 2, 3 be displayed in the output space? Here. The first, very simple, right? There's no specification of a field width. The output will be printed on the current position of the cursor, which is 1, 2, 3 here. So that's one, it will become 1, 2, 3 like this because there's no specification of field width. So it just continue with the current position of the cursor. Okay. Now next, b equal to %2d. What will be the output look like? Now you know that the length of x is 3 space, right? X has 3 digits. It needs 3 spaces. But in this printf statement, right, we only give it 2 spaces. It's not enough, right? So we will not print out 1, 2, or 2, 3. C will bring out the entire number. Remember, it's overflow to the next space to maintain the precision. Remember this? Okay? There's no cutting or trunking of a number because of the field width. If the field width is less than the length of the output, it just simply overflow to the next space. Okay? Now, printf, next one, C equal to %5d. What will be the output? So we have 5 space already, right? We have 5 space here where 1, 2, 3 should be. It will be right justify right from position 3 to 4. It will be like this. Okay. Next one for %d equal to %-5. Minus means that the output will be left aligned and the result will be like this. And then how about E? How about E here? You see that E will be padding 0 in front, right? And the text is left aligned, sorry, right aligned. That's why we have a padding 0 in front like this. Okay, and lastly, we have F plus sign here. What does it mean? With that flag, we have a plus sign in front of the field width. What does it mean? It means that we will bring out the plus sign for positive number and a minus sign for negative number. Jonathan shouldn't be a default right alignment since there's no field width. Which one, Jonathan? Which one do you ask me about? A. No. A right alignment or left alignment. In this case, right, for the first printf, there is no definite, there's no field width defined. You see the difference between the this one, this printf and the number 3, 1 and 3, huh? The difference is here. The difference is here. In C, we specify that there are 5 space reserved for this output. But in A, we don't specify anything. So the computer just bring directly from the current position of the cursor and finish the output. That's it. All right. Now, for last one, for F, because of the plus sign in the plus flag, so that we will we will have the plus sign in the output also, because 1 to 3 is a positive number. So if there is a number beside percent, then it starts from the right. Yes, when you have the number here, it means that you define a space, a range, the exact space for the output. So depends on the length of the output. If it is shorter than the size of the field width, and there is no flag, it means there is no minus sign there, we will print from the right. But if the length of the output is longer than the field width, it will overflow. For example, in the case of B here, you specify 2 space only, right? So for B, I just specify up to this 2 space only, 2 spaces only for output. But my output is 1, 2, 3, right? It needs 3 spaces. So I cannot just trunk at 1, 2. Because if I just print out 1, 2, the result is wrong. I also cannot print 2, 3 here. It's also wrong. So C chose to maintain the accuracy of the output by printing the entire output like this. It's overflow to the next space. You get it clear? You only need to consider whether it's left or right alignment when the length of the output is shorter than the length of the field width, the size of the field width. Then you need to look at the alignment. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. If you run this code, you will see the result like this. So ABC will be similar, and then you will see some gap between the equal size and 1 to 3, right? Because we specify 5 space here, and there be 1 space in between the equal size and the plus size, because here we take up 4 spaces and we left with 1 space here. So if it's 3, no change, but 4, start from 4. Yes, right to left, because here we don't have any minus signs. But in this case, for D here, it doesn't matter whether it's it just affects the next output, because here is it left aligned already. So how to look at this? First, you look at the length of the output. Then you look at the field width, whether it has any specified field width or not, and the length of the field width. If the field width is longer than the length of the output, look at the alignment. Is there any minus sign for alignment or not? If there's no minus sign, it's right aligned. If there's a minus sign, it will be left aligned. And then if it's right aligned, look more for if there is any 0 or not. If it's 0 means you need to add in 0 in front. If there is any plus in front of the field width or not. If it's plus, we also need to add in plus. That's it. So there's a few things you need to look at in the printf statement. So you need to look at like this and this, and then the output that you will print it out. Now let's move on to the next example for floating point numbers. So we move from characters, single character to multiple characters and a string, and then integer, and now we move into a floating point number. What will be the output in this case? So I have an x equal to 13.415035. How many space do we have here? Do we need here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So totally the length will be how many what is the length of this output? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? Now, the first printf %f. So what will be the result of this? For %f, I don't have any field width specified. There's no precision specified also. It will print out as default. And the default format of an F data type, a float data type is 6 digital plate, right? So and with that, we have 8 space, right? And what will be the result? What will be the result? It will be like this. Remember, points also take up 1 space. Sorry, I need to remove on this. Okay. Now next up, how about B? You specify exact length for the output, right? We need 8 spaces, and you also specify 8 spaces here. That's why 8 spaces here. That's why we also have the same output like case A. How about C? In C, I increased the field width already. It's no longer 8, but it's increased to 10. All right. So the first space will be empty, right? Because we will have the output will be right aligned, and it will look like this. I pause here. Okay. Any questions? And then for D, right? For D, there will be 0 in front, right? That's why we will have 0 in front of the output to fill in the empty space. And then how about E? How about E? How about E? E is back to 8 space, right? Back to 8 space only. So 8 space only from here to here only. All right. And then next, we have 2 decimal place. So the output will be 2 decimal. 2 decimal, huh? 2 decimal only. Here, let me see. I should pen highlight. So 2 decimal place only. Remember this? So we have here 8.2 means I have 8 space for the output from here to here. 8 space for the output from here to here, right? And then 2 decimal place in the output. So the output will become 13.12 because of rounding here. We need to round up here. It's become 13.12. And with that, the output will be like something like this. Okay? In what scenario does it round up? Because why is it round up? Because 5 here, right? It's follow the normal round up mathematically. Follow your math rules. So I have 0.415 here, right? If I round here, I only take 2 decimal places. This become 2, right? Because 5 and above will be up. 4 and above will be down, right? Okay. So round up or round down is follow our mathematics rules. Yes, we follow mathematics rule. I believe you have gone through that, right? Rounding. So for E here it's round because we only take 2 decimal places. That's why you will, and we have the next decimal place is 5 here. That's why it's become for 2, not for 1. Okay. Now next one will be F, will be 0 in front. For B, it overflow. For B, it overflow because right, F doesn't, we don't have a specific, precision. We didn't specify the precision for F. That's why it's bring all 6 decimal place for us and overflow to the next one. Okay? Because we don't specify any precision. So in E, we specify that we only need 2 decimal place. That's why we'll need to do some rounding here. And then we move on to F, 0.8. So similar to the previous case, right? We only need to fill the front empty space with 0. And lastly, minus 8.2F. Minus 8.2F. G is not like that. G doesn't have any 0 in behind because we already For G, we already forced the number precision is only 2 decimal places. All right, so what do we have? It will be like this. Okay, and you will see something like this if you run the codes. Okay, I pause here. Any questions so far? Are we clear, right? So we know how to print character. If we want to do left align and show in positive, left align and show in positive, we will do the minus first before the plus. How is 8 is on correct 7 character if I read this right justified. Remember in floating point number, the points also take up one space. Don't forget it, okay? So it's also take up one space here. All right, let's move forward with the next example in a bit of complicated, combine the formatting with some kind of setting here. Okay, so how do we read this code? Have you run this code at home? No, okay, let's run it here. So what do we have? We have a 14-point number with a very long decimal place like this, right? And then see how we can format it with different field width and decision degree of precision. Now, when you read this one, this for loop, there are two counter, right? Field width and the degree of precision. And then we will pass. Remember the previous slide I shared about this example. Point star here means field width and precision. So the first route is start from field width 6 and this decision point is decimal place. We'll call decimal place 0, right? Decimal place 0, number of decimal place 0. So the output will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Or 1, 2, 3, 1, 4, 4, 5, 7. Which one? So what will be the output of in the first round here? So when you run this, the first iteration, field width will be 6, and number of decimal place will be 0, right? Then if in this case, what will be the output? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7? Which one? Are you with me, student? Student, are you with me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is it? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? It should follow the same rule. 6, and then you churn out, you don't have any decimal. It will come for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Okay? Remember this? Because of the next one is 7.7. Hey, your marks also round up like that. If you keep it in 6, your mark also round up. Okay. Now next one, field width equal to 7 and 1 decimal place. So what is the result? So I have 7 space, right? I have 7 space, but the length of the output will be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? The output will be 1.12345.6.8. Am I correct? And it has 8 spaces. It is longer than the field width, right? So what will be the result? From the start on, so it overflow to the next space, okay? You know that for the case 2, right? I only reserve up to this. For case 1, I give up to this only, okay? Then how about the next one? The next round, field width equal to 8 and 2 decimal place. Same thing, I give up to 8 spaces. But I have longer, the result is longer than that, right? That's why it will overflow to the next space. And lastly, when field width equal to 9 and decimal place equal to 3, what will be the result? Okay, good. And it still overflow, right? Because the length of the output is longer than the field width. That's why we will have something like this. Now for this, I only give up to this 9 space, but because the length of the output is longer than the field width, it will print out the correct output. So the rule of thumb here is precision is take higher priority than the field width. So if the field width is not enough for the length of the output, it will take the next space to maintain the precision that we want. Get it? Okay. Okay, if you bring out it will be something like this. Okay, I hope you go back and play around with the codes I shared So this week, because of the revision, so I didn't have any summary quiz for you, and I use this one as a kind of summary, as a quiz for you to review the entire part 1. So go back and practice this one again as a part of your summary quiz. Yes, Xin Zhi, if field width is 7, how come can print until the 8th box? Yes, very good question. For formatting output, we will maintain the precision of the output. If the length of the field width is smaller than the length of the output, the entire output will be printed out following the precision. So it means that precision has a higher priority than the field width. No, for field width, there is 9 space to be reserved for the output. It's not 9 integer, 9 space, and depends on the length of the output that it will fully fill in the space, or it will be overflow, or is it left aligned, right aligned, depends on our setting. So in this case, we have, for example, the last case here, right? In the last case here, we give 8 space, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 space. We need 10 space for output. Why is it 10 space here? Because for this output, we need 3 decimal places as specified here. Yes, star point star is the field width and decimal place. And we use decimal place to the precision here to define the output. Yes, the order is important. If you pass the decimal place in front and the field width after, the code will read in the different way. So in this case, if we change the position of field width and decimal place here, TP here, in the opposite way, then it will read it differently. Instead of field width equal to 9, TP equal to 3, it will read like field width equal to 3 and TP equal to 9. So this is how the parameter will be read in printf statement. So after this, we have printf like 9.3, right? And it will execute it as a normal printf. We use so Nikon, we use the star point star when we got a lot of variables. Yes, if you want to have the same format of all variables with the same format, you can use this to specify the same format for all variables, because in this case you don't need to change at multiple places. You only need to change this at one place, and all the output will follow the same format. So I given you 2 options, right? You can set manually in each of the position here, up to you. Like previously, like you have in the previous example, right? You can set it directly here, like this. But if you have so many output and you want to format it in the same way, and you can use a star point star format, and you define a constant for field width and the precision, and you can just use this and use the star point star format to pass the parameter to it. In this way, will be faster and neater for you. It's kind of programming techniques. I will give you the same result, but it will make is it more tedious for changes or more efficient for changes later on? It's up to you to structure and design your program. The output will be the same. Now, all the way back to lecture 1, we already learned about arithmetic operators, right? Let's see if still remember on this. These are very easy to score questions. I hope that with all my example here, you will be very clear and strong in this, so that you don't lose points along the way in your exam or in your quiz. So the first expression, what is the result? 7? Any other idea? How about the rest? Do you have the same result as Nikon and Joseph? I look at, we have only 3, 4, 5, 6 answers so far. Okay. Okay, let we walk through it. So we look at this one, which one is the highest precision? So this one, right? And with this equation, we will go left to right. And how we do it? 10 divided by 2 give it 5, right? And then we move next. This one is the next one. And then 30, this is the remainder, right? Remainder operator. And give you 2. That's why we have 7. Good. Now, how about example 2? 19. How about the rest? Do you have any idea? 21? Yeah, I've had difference now. Anyone else? Aloysius, give me 21. Joseph still thinking. How about the rest? I have two results now, 19 and 21. What is your answer, students? 14. So 19, 21, 14. We have three options now. 21, 21, 14, 21. Now I see more of 21 now. Okay, let's work through this. So with the example, which one is the first operator to evaluate? This one, right? This one, the first one. Brian, this one is integer. We will assume that this one will be integer operator. Okay. Now, with this first evaluation, which one is the next one? This one, right? And this one. This side will be equal priority, right? And 55 divided, remainder 4 give us 3. And this one times 1 with 6, right? 56. 8 times 7 give us 56. And then this one give us the whole. We just take the significance of this division and give us 18. Finally, we get 21. Okay. Any question? Any question so far? No, right? Now, how about number 3? All right. All right, Joseph. Hopefully, you look at the operator correctly in the exam. All right, how about number 3? As I share with you, those questions are very easy. Why is this for? Nikon, why is it for? It should be something different, right? If I take like x divided by 12, right? Y equal to x divided by 12 will be 33, divided by 12 will be 2.75, and then I times 2. So the result should be 5, right? Why you say that 4? So yes, the answer is correct. This operator gives us the result 2. Okay, and then Z is 4. If you run this code in C, this is how it give you what is given you if you run the code in C. The issue is because of this is an integer. All right, this is the integer here. Let me clear this one. Remember, x is an integer. And because x is integer, this one will give us an integer division. And it's give y, although it is double, but this left, because the left-hand side will, the assignment operator, for the assignment operator, it will be right to left, right? So this portion will be evaluated first before it assign the value to y. So this operator, this expression will be evaluated first, and this, the division, because x is an integer, it will force this operator is to integer division. That's why y has a value of 2, and then because of that, z have a value of 4. If you want to make y as now to get the correct, force this one into the real division, right? You will need to cast this x back into a float type. Then the entire result will be as a decimal place, as the floating point number for you. S is 2 points, sorry, I just put it shorter. By right, 2.000. Because y is a double, right? It's even more. Because double size, the precision will be more. Okay? The explanation is because for the assignment operator, all the expression on the right-hand side will be evaluated first. And because x is an integer, the division there is considered as an integer division. Okay? All right. So we finished week 1 and week 5. Week 4. Now we come back to week 2. Week 2 is for pseudocodes, for you to present your algorithm, and don't forget some of the good practice. to present pseudocodes. Okay, first you should use naming convention for your variables so that when you refer it to when you refer to it in multiple structure instructions, we know flowcharts. I got C language inside. Sometimes it's not C language, sometimes it's a very common math language there. Okay, then let me double check through that. But for flowchart also, we don't have any language specific syntax there. Then for pseudocode, of course, you don't have any language, programming language syntax inside. For instruction, we use verb and we capitalize the construct key. For example, if, else, or while, or something like this. So these are the construct key. And remember to write one construct per line and use indentation when necessary to make sure that the body of a selection or is a body of a repetition structure will be represented neatly, and don't write in any programming language. Okay, and then common construct for you, for example, start and stop, input, read, prompt, print. These are some sample for you to use, but not necessary to be the same. Only when you use when you need to use specific construct for selection. So if, else will need to be used because switch is not considered as a blend language in English in pseudocode. Okay, it's very C for specific. And then similarly for loops, we will use while, repeat until, and not for. All right, for is also a very specific. Now it's very specific to some language. You may see for in Python. You may see let me see what is sent to me now. Okay, K equal to less than 100. Okay, the reason I use in that because yes, we can use it easy understood, but is understood by normal math, right? And also you can use it produce a product is less than or equal to 100 also will do. In this case, is acceptable. And product equal to 3 times product. This is normal math, right? This is a math statement. It's not specific to any programming language. It's a math statement. So we can write math formula inside. We can use math formula inside pseudocode and flowchart. We don't write, like for example, for I equal to 1, I less than equal to 10, I plus plus. This one is very specific to C because a for loop is written in C# may be different. So for loops, we only use while or repeat until or do something until something. So what we accepted in the pseudocode, okay, something very commonly understandable as math formula, as plain English in short form, like this. It's not something like very specific to C syntax. Sometimes the C syntax is very similar to our common math, right? Can use percentage equal to, so percentage there is is not a common syntax for all language, because for C#, the modulus is represented by another operator. So plus addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division is common math, right? So modulus, you can say modulus. So far, I'm not too sure whether is there any other operator that's use a different operator for modulus. So in this case, you can use that, but to be safe, you just say modulus. Or you say take the remainder, set something as the remainder of this and this. Now, let's take a look on these examples. So far, I hope that you read through this example already. Have you read through the example at home, student? No, okay. So take 2 minutes to read the problem statement here. So 2 minutes to read this example problem statement. There's a typo error here. Okay, have you get the context of the problem? So in this problem, right, so we have two teams and we will need to read in the input for these two teams as a result of test. Yes, correct, Javier. X greater than or equal to, x greater than or equal to, you can use the side greater than equal side. This is understandable, understood, okay? Because it's a common math. As just again, math formula is acceptable in pseudocode. You don't need to write your formula in plain English. You just need to write the math formula. But make sure the math formula is following the very common math syntax, not syntax, math language. Okay, so back to the example. And then this is an example of the pseudocode, and to me, this is a very poor pseudocode. So first, in this pseudocode, what does it do? It will declare some A and some B, and then use a for loop to read team A and B, calculate some A and B, and then bring out the result in this condition. Things like get characters. With Tristan, how would you write for things like get characters if necessary? Get character or scanf is actually a way for us to read in the input, right? So just read in. You just read or input, right? Okay. Now back to the example. Any issue with this pseudocode? Why did I say that this is example of very poor pseudocode? Where is this C language, Nikon? There's no C language in this pseudocode actually. That indentation, I see it's very well. The indentation is nicely formatted to me. Actually, you see that here, nicely done. No caps on important words. It's there, number of important word. It's a construct word, but it's not a major issue, not really a major issue when I read these pseudocodes. No start, no end. No start and end, yes, there is something there, but it's not a major issue in the pseudocode, particular for this pseudocode. There are many more issues in this pseudocodes compared with the formatting. If loop, what is the if loop here, Wilson? For loop, yes, for loop. This is a repetition, right? So it's not clear at all. So missed out variable declaration. To me, this one is very vague. Okay, so first of all, declaration is not necessary. It's not a process and an action that is a solution, as a part of the solution. Declaration of variables is a part of preparation of the program, and it depends on the programmer. Whether you declare an integer or declare a float or double series, up to the programmer to do. So variable declaration is not necessary to be included in pseudocode. But if you look at this one, remember, do you still remember our example on the calculating the average, the grade average of the class average? We will need to keep reading 10 marks, right? And then we would calculate the sum. So in order to calculate any sum, we need to initialize the initial value of that variable to some numbers. And in this case, we need to initialize some A and some B to 0, which is not stated there. So what happened to this issue? If you don't initialize your sum into 0 or to any starting point, the program will get any random number and get stuck with that. And the result will be wrong. Okay? So for the first part here is the issue with declaration and sum. You put in something that not required and you forget. You didn't include the something that very important, which is initialization of the variable. Yes, for Marcus, yes, is very correct for loop. It is never this pseudocode doesn't tell the programmer exactly how many times that we need to repeat this input and calculate this. What is the counter for this? We don't see, right? And then read for team A and team B. And then the next thing is calculate sum A and sum B. How can I calculate sum A and sum B? What is the formula for us to calculate sum A and sum B? The machine cannot know, right? So first, on the clear loop definition, how many times will it run? What is the loop counter? How the loop counter will be changing over every iteration. And then, second, for the read input here is very unclear input. What is a variable? You need to somehow have a consistent variable names, right? So that we know that we use this variable names to store the input. So read into what? Okay? You don't need to declare the variable, but if you want to use certain variable for calculation later on, you need to, and then the variable need to store the user input. You will need to specify the input will be stored into what variable, okay? And then calculate sum A and sum B is very unclear. I don't know what formula I should follow. Is it sum A equal to sum B plus 1 or sum B equal to sum A plus 1? I don't know, right? So you, for everything related to calculation, it needs to be very specific. How do you do it? Then you teach the machine to do it the way you do. So if you use A, you will set sum A equal to sum A plus score A, you need to write it like this. And on the rest here, you see, yes, formatting, capitalize control structure here, if else. It's not there. But this one is not a major issue because whether you put it correct or not correct, this pseudocode is still executable. It means that the programmer still can understand it and still can convert it into any C language. But the front part here, which is the logic of the solution, is not there. And this is very weak and poor pseudocode because there's no logic for us to, no mathematic, no exact way for us to calculate the sum. Then how can we correct this? So this is a version. So we need to initialize A, B to 0. And we also need to initialize a counter to 1. In this kind of statement here, you can say set sum A to 0, sum B to... There's many ways for us to express the action that we need to set the value of sum A to 0. You don't need to use follow exactly what I'm written here. There's many ways for you to do it. You just need to make sure that you let the reader know that by this statement, I mean that the value of sum A will be 0. Okay? Similarly, for sum B to 0 and I to 1. I pause here. Any question up to here? So this is a sample for you to write initialization. Any question so far? Yes or no? Okay, silence. Okay, now let's move on to okay, let's here. All right. So for the improved pseudocode, it will be first and initialization. And remember, for any repetition, you need to initialize the value of the counter. And in this case, I use I as a counter for the repetition. And now here we get started with the loop, right? Remember, we don't use for in the pseudocode. We use while or do until, repeat until or something. So while I less than or equal to 10. Okay, here, this is still acceptable if you write like this. I less than equal to 10. Actually, when we mark, we don't deduct mark in this case for you. But to be correct, it should be this way. But this one also okay, okay? Now, you can use read score A here. I use score A and score B here, and I consistently use it in the formula later. You can say, you can write input A, input B. With this, the reader will know that, okay, we will get the user input and assign that user input to variable score A. Okay, so this is for user input. You can say read input. These are two words, usually two keywords for you to use when you talk about user input. Okay, next we will need to assign, or we need to calculate sum A and sum B, right? You can use this word set. You need to start, remember pseudocode will start with action words. You need to set sum A to sum A plus A score A. Or you can use a formula like this, but you need to start with the keywords. With the action words. The action word, you need to start with the action word here. Set. Okay? Now, this one is wrong and I in. Okay, let me change the indentation here into better. Okay, it will need to be aligned. Sorry, it need to be aligned with this. Okay, and then for the counter, you will need to set increase I by something, or you just say set I equal to I plus 1, or set increase whatever whatever other description to express the I action that we need to increase I by 1. All right, so this is the how you should write a repetition. Don't forget the increase of the counter. Then the rest will be the same. Sum A is equal to sum B, or you can write this also okay, because it's understandable. Instead of using display, you can use print also okay. Okay? So this is an example of a good pseudocode for you to compare with what you may have, what you may generate in your exam previously, on your quiz previously. So with this, pseudocode, I can imagine I can convert directly, immediately from this line to a C code. Okay, with this, do you have any question? Yes, you can include star and and. It's a good practice to include star and and. But usually if you don't have a star and and, the star and and will be very good for us to indicate this entire program. But if you don't include star and and, usually we also don't deduct marks. As long as your indentation here and the structure will be neatly, will be okay already. It is neatly done here, will be okay. But a good practice to have star and n on top of front. All right. If you don't have any further question, let's take a look at this example. I didn't give you the example because I want you to work on the spot. So let's take how many? Let's give us 8 minutes for you to work on this, and you send your pseudocode in the group chat, the chat. Okay, you can send as your text or in as a image also. Okay. Can you work on the pseudocode first for this? I will come back at 13:20. So I give you 8 minutes to think about this and you write the pseudocode. Is it okay, student? Yes or no? Yes, right. Okay. Hi. We will need to perform the four arithmetics: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So depends on the operator, right? Depends on the operator. Then we will choose which one to perform to display. All right, let's get to this. To this. Oh, I have a few solution here, and I think so far on the last one from Sam's is the very good pseudocode because you understand the purpose of this problem correctly, and the pseudocode also very neat and well designed so that it can be implemented directly into C. Now, what is the purpose of this problem? This problem is for us to read in two numbers, right? And an operator, arithmetic operation, arithmetic operators, whether it is a plus sign or minus sign or the division or subtraction. Depends on the operator we read in, we will perform the corresponding corresponding operation. If what we read in is a plus, and we need to display the result of the multiplication. If the user give us a minus, we will need to give the subtraction result, so on and so forth, right? So in this case, how many input that we need to read in? 1, 2, or 3? We need to read in input 1 and 2, right? So before we get started, we need to start. We will need to start the program. And after we start, what we do? After we start, we immediately read the input, right? We need to read number 1 and number 2, and we also need to read operation, whether it is plus, minus, or multiplication or division. After we read the input, we have all the input already. What do we need to do? We will need to check whether what operator it is, and depends on the operator, we will perform the operation, right? So this is how we do it. So first First, we will need to check if operator is plus or not. If it's plus, and display the result of multiplication. If else, we need to check what is minus, or it is a multiplication or division here. And then for division, we cannot just directly take the division operator, because we need to check whether number 2 is 0 or not. And then after we check, if it's not 0, we can display the result. And if not, if it's number 2 is 0, then we need to display an error message. And if the operators key in, the user give us anything else different from this four input, for operators, we need to display the error. And finally, and. Okay, so where is it? Sorry, I didn't show the result. So this is the result, right? First, we need to read input. Then we perform the check for the four operators. And then after that, especially for division here, we need to check whether the number 2 is 0 or not. Okay? Then if it's not 0, we can get the result. And if it's not 0, if it's 0, we cannot do the division anymore. We need to display an error. And finally, if the operator is something different from this four required input, we will need to display an invalid operation. Okay? So I can see that you have some of you have get it really near to the so-called the answer here. You just need to fine-tune it a bit, and you will get it correctly, fully correctly. So what I can see in some of you is, it's not about you don't know how to write a pseudocode, but you don't understand the problem statements. And then even after you understand a problem statement, sometimes you cannot design a solution. And then if you cannot solve the problem yourself, you cannot instruct the computer. So first of all, you need to generate a solution using the plain language as a normal algorithm first. And after you have the algorithm or the way to solve the solution to the problem, then you convert it into a pseudocode or flowchart. Okay, so pseudocode or flowchart is a final outcome of your entire solutioning process. And you need to know how to solve the problem first. Okay, so any idea? Any question with the example? Now, how to implement this program? How to implement this program into C? Shall we implement this program to C? Yes. Okay, that's very good. I see the later solution that you share in the chat is very good. Okay, let's implement it in C. It will be something like this for you to see. Okay, so this is code blocks. I have code blocks here side by side with the pseudocode for you to see the conversion between pseudocode and the C code. So first, we will just need to set up the parameter, the variables, right? And remember, we don't need to include the variable declaration in the pseudocode. So in this case, I allow for a floating point number. That's why I give I decide that number 1 and number 2 as float data type. And the character, the operator should be character, because we will read in the character in. The input should be a character. Now, then we read in the operation first, then we read into numbers. So this is how to read in, right? Put in the operation, and then we read by using scanf and %c. And then we also read into numbers by %f, number 1 and number 2. And in this case, because of some if-else statement, and I want to compare against a constant value, so I use the switch operator, structure here to switch the operation. Case plus, case minus, case multiplication, case division. And then finally, the defaults. If anything else, we will need just need to put in the invalid operation, and that's it. Okay, I pause here. If you read, I leave it for you to read the C code. Any question? Yi Wei may ask, there is no need to initialize the result to 0, the pseudocode. We only need the initialization if we want to get started with some starting numbers. The result doesn't need to have any starting number, right? Because it will be assigned with the value. So we don't need to initialize any user input or any result here. Initialization is only necessary when you work with repetition, because we need to get started with some starting value, then we need initialization. So the purpose of initialization is to give that variable a starting value. So in this case, the result doesn't need any starting value. It just have only one result only, and the result is directly depend on the number 1 and number 2. So we don't need initialization. And then for input also, you don't need to initialize the input, because the value of the variable that store the user input will be given by the user, and will be you will have the scanf function here to store that value already, so you don't need to initialize the variable, the input variable. And technically, you still initialize it just to be safe on. Yes, you can initialize it, but it's a redundant, and it is not for me. It doesn't contribute to any mark, because to me it's redundant. You may not get for me, I will not subtract any marks from you, and will not deduct any marks. But if you include it, it's good to have. It's not good to have. It's not so good to have, but you in terms of marks, so you will not be penalized with anything. Okay. But if you miss any important step, then the mark for that part will be subtracted. Okay. So let's run this. Now I have operator, for example, plus, and then I have enter two numbers, 3 and then 6. See, the result will be 9. Okay. Now, let me give you some extension. What if I change this one? I just change the order. Instead of read in the operation first, I read in the number first. Will I have the same result? I will face an issue like this. Now, if I read in the two number first and I read in the operator later, right? It looks the same to us, right? There's no issue. And I will get the same result and same input. But immediately we say that AND operation and an invalid operation. Can anyone explain to me what happened to my program in this case? In this case, I just changed the order of reading in the input orders. Instead of reading the two number, instead of reading the operation first, I read in the two number first and the operation later. But the program doesn't perform properly. Why? Yes, very good, Sam, because we have a buffer in the input. Remember the last portion we have last week is a input buffer, right? So when I key in 3 and 6 here, my last keyboard input is enter, and it's stored in the memories and assigned to the operation variable. And in this case, my operation always take the value of the new line fit. Okay, that's why it always under invalid operation. So to see that although the pseudocode given you this, implementing the pseudocode is really depends on the language you are using and the compiler that is working for the language. For C, we have input buffer. And in this case, if you change the order of reading input, especially for character, new line, tab, and space are special character. Although you don't see it, but it's still stored in the memory and assigned to the operation variable here. So in this case, if is there any way? Is there any way for us to do this? We will keep reading it. Wow. We will exclude on this, right? Operation is equal to what special character here? We just exclude the special character, okay? Or it will be equal to those. Remember the special character that we usually handle? We need to handle tab, new line, or space, right? Then we keep reading. We will keep doing this. So with this, what we do, we tell the program that if my character is operation like this, is a new line, I read the next character. I read the next one until it's not on this special character. Okay? So this is a way for you to fix the input, to handle those input that you don't want, especially for character. For the pseudocode, can I write the and else after else part? Yes, you can to make it clearer. This is more for formatting, but doesn't change the logic. It's okay to have it. Okay, let us run this in this way. So I have here 3 and 6. 6 and then plus. And then the result will be, now you see that because when it's scanned in, it hit the special character, and then because the condition is true, I keep continuing reading that until my operation value of the operation is not these three the special character. Then I will go to the next. The input buffer, how does it make, right? Now, let's say if I put input 6 in my OK here, let me check. In this example, right? In this example, let me go back to the thing that I can write in neatly for you. So in this example, right, the first thing is, for example, the first thing you have input to number, right? Input to number, two numbers. Then as a user, what you will do? What will you do? You do 3, and then you enter, right? You enter. And then you do, what I do? I do 6, and then I enter again, right? Then in my scanf, right? In my scanf, remember scanf, %D, what does it mean? %D. It only read in integer, right? So it will read, in this case, it will read in 3, and it assign to, because it read 3 as a first integer and assigns to number 1. Okay? And then the next thing is scan, right? The next thing is scan is not integer anymore, right? And what it does though, it hit the backslash n, right? It hit the backslash n. So backslash n here, because it's not an integer, So what does it do? It will store in the buffer. Okay, it store there first. Because it's not integer, my first do scanf is %D and scan to get the number in, right? And then after that, when it scan another %D, I will read in the next one will be scanf for, and then we have 6, right? We meet the next integer, and 6 is integer, right? Integer, it will assign to number 2. Okay? And then I read in another one. Read in backslash n inside. Into also store in the buffer. So right now in my memory, there are 2 backslash n stored inside. So back here, when I have the memory store there, the next thing I do is bring out this one. So that's why the message will be bringing out. And the next one, when do the scanf here, instead of getting the new one, whatever number you store, you input, it will go back to the buffer to see what are inside first. So the first input as a character that currently stored in the buffer is \n, which is enter. Enter the keyword, the enter that you put in from your keyboard, right? Is there a way to clear buffer? We will decide through the way that we will read in the input. So a way to fix is not to use \n in the code. The way to fix this one is there are 2 ways. We can catch exception. Make sure that you will need to handle the case when \n/t space will need to continue to read in. So this is how we do. Okay, or you can handle it behind in front, like just now I share with you. We read in the operator first and read the number later, so we will not have any issue with wrong character. So this one is something like programming technique, because it doesn't affect your solution. Your algorithm, right? Your pseudocode, your algorithm will be the same, but this is because of the specific language you are using to implement the solution. So it is a tip for you to handle special case when you read in character. If you don't want to have an issue with this special character, just include this piece of code so that you can exclude this as the input for character. All right. So with this, we have fully moved from program to pseudocode and to C code. Can we use case \t/n instead? Here, I have it here. Yes, you can use it, but put it in front or put it later. But in this case, you need to re-input. You need to use this to re-input a new operation. You need to include the operation. I mean, you need to include the scanf in the case so that you can read in. So you need to make sure that you handle this special case before you check for order for the case. Okay, so you go back and play around with this. I will share the C code. Programming is all about experiments, right? Go back and experiment, and you learn it. A lot of interesting thing because there may be a lot of variations to one program. I can write differently also. I can use a Boolean variable to consolidate this solution also. So you can explore it further. So right now it is one typical solution for you to solve this problem, but I'm sure that you can have so many solutions to do it also. Okay, so you promise me when I share the code, go back and try again to see if you have any other alternatives to solve it. And the code is very here for hmm? Of course, there is a way for us to clear the memory, but this is more advanced function and this is not included in the scope of this course on the scope of this level. So I will show you the solution for you that you can implement easily within the scope of this course. But it is up to you to go and further explore whether you have any other solution when to handle the memory. And you can clear the memory, search for something that clear memory, and search for something like how to reset buffer memory in C, and you can find a solution there. I don't want to go beyond the scope of the course because we are in the beginning level. All right. So far, is there any question regarding this example? Yes or no? If we are unclear, can we move to the next? I still have a few more examples for you to practice. Now we move on to parallel loops. We back to the outputs of the repetitions. And answer for Nikon, is there a way to clear buffer? Yes. There is some function for you to clear the memory, but it is more. And then Joseph is not about fixing not to use any of backslash n in the code. No, it's not about backslash n in the code. The issue we are facing here is the backslash n or we key in the enter character from the keyboard. So this is as a user input and how to handle this special user input. Okay, now let's move on to this. So this question, are you with me now, student, or are you still with the previous problem? Are you with me now, student? Yeah, so can we work on this for loop? This for loop is included in the slide deck shared with you before. Can you state the results? So in this case, not just output, we will need to find you make sure that we write the outputs in the correct format. So first of all, you look at this one. Is there a restroom break? Okay, you need a break. Let's have a 5 minutes break. We back at 1:50. Is it okay, everyone?
Recording in
Let's
progress.
get back to this example. And I can see some result from Phillips already. Very good, Philip. Yes, that is the correct answer. And I hope that you work on it manually and verified it using C codes. Okay, because in the exam, we don't have code blocks to run the codes. So please try to work out the result manually. Okay, are you back, student? Student, are you back? Yes. Okay, let's work on this together. I just explained to you a bit of what we should look at when we encounter these kinds of question. So first of all, this question incorporate two things. First, this is a multiple variable loops. Okay, I and j, and the value of I and j are changing differently. And the control counter, the counter for this loop is only one variable, which is I. So I starting from 3 and decrease by 1 every iteration. In every iteration, j is increased twice, right? Now, if you look at this, I start from 3 and end at 1. Every iteration is increased by 1. It means that the value of I will be 3, 2, and 1. So there will be 3 iterations, right? So the first thing you look at this one will be 3 iterations. For each iteration, we will have 1 output. So it means there will be 3 outputs. This kind of thing. Okay, for each output, what do we have? We have the format %d. Percent, not just d, percent plus d. What does it mean, percent plus d here? Plus means that we add a plus sign in front of the output, right, for positive number. And this is pre-increment or post-increment. Plus j times I. Is it increase or post? Pre-increment. It means the value of j will be increased by 1 before it is multiplied with I. All right, so how we do this? We know that there will be 3 iterations. I put 4 here because I want to show you this termination. And first iteration, in the first iteration, what is the value of I? I and j is 3. And then plus j times I will be 2 times 3 by 6. Why 2 here? Why is it 2 here? Anyone can explain to me why I have 2 here instead of 1? Because of plus j here give us 2 first. Okay? And 2 times 3 equal to 6. And in this case, output, is it 6 only? No, right? The output should follow the format, which is 6. And then plus sign in front also. Okay? And then plus a comma here also. Okay? So we have plus 6 here. Sorry, 1 more. Okay? Now, how about the second iteration? For second iteration, I become, how about j? J become 4 because j is equal to j times 2, right? J times equal to 2. So the current value of j is 2, and then it times 2 become 4. And then the output of what we have is 4 increased by 1 into 5 and times 2 given 10. And we apply the formatting output, we will have this result. Okay? Are you still with me, student? Yes, right? And then next, for iteration 3, I become decrease by 1, right? Become 1. And then 5, j becomes 5 times 2 equal to 10. And then the output will be 10 increased by 1 into 11. 11 times 2 is 20, 22. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, times 1, not times 2, because value of I is 1. So we have 11 here. And finally, the output will be plus 11 and comma. Okay? And then iteration 4, I is 0, right? Value of I is 0. That's why we have n, right? I becomes 0. That's why it is the loop will be terminated. And the result will be like this. If you run the codes, it will give you like this. And you notice there's no field width specified here. That's why the output will be printed out continuously like this. Okay? So this is this example to show you how the output from the loop can be also formatted using the different format. Why does it matter if the block size is outside of the, does it matter if the it will treat it, if it's outside of the percent, it will no longer a flag. It will treat it as a constant character and it will be printed out regardless the value of the output. So the plus sign after the percent is actually a flag. It's only add the plus sign to the positive number and the minus sign to the negative number. It keeps the minus sign for the negative number, right? But if you put it outside of the percent, it is no longer the formatting specifier anymore. It's a constant character and it will be included in output regardless the value of the output, whether positive or negative. Currently the plus sign affect the output because it's add in the plus value here in front of a positive number. But if this is become a negative, it would no longer have a plus sign here. It is a negative. For example, negative 10. It will print out as negative 10, no longer plus 10. It's like that, Nicole. Okay? The plus sign does anything? Yes, it is. It's add in the plus here in front of the result, right? If you don't have a plus sign, just print out 6, 10, and 11. You can try it. Okay? Now, I see that Wilson, the J values because of this operator pre-increment. So J value, as I two ways to change the value of J. So first is through the updating operator here. So every iteration, the value of J will be times 2. But inside, because of inside the printf, the value of J is changed through this pre-increment. Pre-increments mean that we increase the value of J before we pass it to the next operator. Right? So in the first iteration, value of J is 1, right? Starting is 1. 1 is here. And before the printf statement, because of this operator, pre-increment operators, value of J become 2. And then it multiplies with the value of I with each, which is 3, and that's why the result is 6. Clemens, what if the value is minus 10? If you put the plus sign in those formatting string like that, it will not print out plus minus 10. But if the plus sign is outside the formatting string, which means that it is before the percent, it will show you the plus sign. We can try it. Right? Let me delete on this one for you, and I type in this one, printf percent d, and then we have plus, okay, comma, and then for example 6 here. Okay, and then we run. I have a simple statement printf, right? It will print, what does it print out? Sorry, it doesn't run. My laptop, where is it? Where's my laptop? It doesn't run. Okay, sorry. Yeah, where is my code blocks? It doesn't run here. Wait a minute. Okay, I have a syntax error. Okay, syntax error here. It will print out syntax error. Yes, I don't see here. It will bring out plus 6, right? Now, if you change, sometimes my eyesight is bad, right? Now, if you change into minus 6, how does it look? Will it bring out plus minus or not? No, right? It is minus 6 because the plus is inside the percent. Okay? So you just, but if you bring it for like this, okay, minute. If you put it outside like this, right? It will include, percent. I still have percent here. And you run, you see the result here. Plus, minus. Because of plus, here is a constant character to be printed out. You see that? Okay. Now, for all this, how do you know when which case what happened? How do you remember on this? Just play around with on this one, and you know the rule clear. So if you want the plus sign to function as a specifier, a formatting specifier, you need to put it after the percent. Cannot be in front. In front, it become a constant character to be printed out together with the output. Okay? You see now, if even you have a plus sign, it just print out -6 in this case. All right. Now back to the example here. Now you get the now you already get why we have the output like plus for 6, 10, and 11 already, right? Because 6, 10, and 11 is positive numbers. So we will include the plus in front because of the specifier here. Formatting specifier inside the formatting string. I will make it clearer for you here, highlighting this one. All right, now let's move on to the second one. I think this is the last example I have so far. No, second to last. I have two examples, this one and the next one, and we're done. So bear with me for another half an hour and we're done. All right. So how about this nested loop? What will be the output? Look, what will be the output for us in this case? Can you please try to run this one without using code blocks, huh? No code block first. Run it manually. Debug it manually. Because in exam room, you don't have code block. You need to understand and execute the codes without the usage of any compiler. Now, can you work on this and state the output for me in the next 5 minutes? Are you with me, student? Student, are you with me? Yes or no? Okay, yes. Can we work on this in the next 5 minutes? Yes, please. Thank you. Okay. All right. I had some submission or some answer here. Actually, only one from Benjamin. How about the rest? Do you need some more time or not? Or are you already give up? If you notice, this one is a nested loop. So what does it mean by a nested loop? Okay, still doing. All right, so someone still doing. So 5 more minutes. Do you need? Let's say back until let us work on this until 2:15. So about 4 more minutes for you to work on this. Joseph, can you check the result again? Starting this value is correct, but the next ones are not correct. Yihan, can you try again? Tristan, you try again also. So far, unfortunately, we don't have any correct answer yet. Try some more. Try some more. I already give you a table, right? You use a table to work out the output, and don't forget the format. Sean, can you double check the results? There's one wrong output there. All right. It's quite tough for you, huh? But this is level that we expected you to handle after part 1. It means that you need to be able to run a nested loop. All right, finally, I see the correct answer from Angie. And then Erwin, yes, correct answer. But we will need to handle the format properly. But I can see that Angie and Erwin and Gonzales. I'm sorry if I pronounce your name wrongly. I can see that Mark also have a correct answer, missing out the plus, the comma marks. Phillips, Mom, where is my comma? Okay, now let's work on this together. Okay, so remember for a nested loop, what is the rule? For a nested loop, the inner loop, which one is the inner loop in this case? This one is the inner loop. This one is inner loop, right? Let me put it in. It's the inner loop. The inner loop will reset and run to completion for every iteration of the outer loop. Remember that? This is a rule. So when you look at this, you need to determine which one is the inner loop and which one is the outer loop. So in this case, while it's the outer loop, it has its own counter, which is I, and every iteration, the counter will increase by 2. Alright, starting value of the outer loop is 1. I equal to 1, and every iteration, I will be increased by 2, right? So basically I will be 1 and then 3, okay, and then so on and so forth. Now, for the inner loop, you see the counter of the inner loop is J, and the condition is it needs to be less than 5, and every iteration is increased by 2 times. It means it's starting from 1 and then it to become 2 and then it become 4, right? And the value is inside the inner loop. It means that it will be printed out for every iteration of the inner loop. And with the format here, with the format also, let me come to this is a format output, right? Remember, this is format output. What does it mean by %3D? The field width, right? I will reserve 3 space for the output and include a comma also. Don't forget this. Okay, so these are some initial analysis that you should have in your when you handle this kind of question. Now, let's get started with outer loop first. So for outer loop, what is the starting value of I? I will be 1 first, right? And then for every iteration of I, the inner loop will run entire from start to completion. So the first value of J is J equal to 1. And the output in this case is 1 plus 1, or is it? I'm sorry, we're missing out something. I plus J. So in this case, here we have post increment also, right? Sorry, pre-increment, right? So in this case, the starting value of I is 1, but because it's a pre-increment here, the value of I become 2 already. And the output will be 2 plus 1 equal to 3. Now you get this? Because of this pre-increments, because of the pre-increment inside the while loop here. Let me highlight this one for you also. Remember, we have this pre-increment here. Okay, now let's get back to the loop here. So after you get the first iteration, I will still maintain, right, as a value of 2, but J will change into the next iteration, which is 2. And the value to be printed out will be 4. And then after that, 4, okay, the value to be printed out is 6. Because the current value of I is still 2, okay? And after that, J become 8, we exit the inner loop. After we exit the inner loop, what do? We do the printf \n. What does it mean? Bring the cursor to the next line, and the next set of output will be in the new line, okay? After that, we will increase the counter by 2. So when this, what will be the new value of I? It will be 2 plus 2 become 4. And then will remain the same. We will run the same set of loop for J. And with that, we have the same value. And from there, after that, similarly to the previous one, the inner loop will be exit when J reach the fourth iteration. And after that, the value of I will increase to 7. Because 4 here, we increase to 5, and then we will put into the operator I plus J. And when I equal to 7, J will run entirely similar to the previous one. And in this case, I equal to 7 increase by 1 also, right? It go to 8 and it will repeat the same. And then now, I current value of I is 8, and then it's increase up to 2. When the value of I is equal to, 10, equal to 10, right? 10, the condition is wrong because because of the pre-increment here. When it's back to the continuation condition here, right? It will become 11 before it compare with 10, and it is become false already. That's why we will exit. So totally we will have 9 output like this. First, we set it aside like this. Now we put it back into the formatting on the format setting, and this is the result we have. Okay, so I will give the three space for the output. That's why, and we don't have any alignment specification, so specifier here. That's why the value of 3 will be on the right hand side of the space, and then plus the next is a comma here. Similarly, we reserve 3 space for the next output and 3 space for the next one. So for every iteration, we keep 3 space like this. And then when we have more, when the output is have more length, it will fill on the right hand side of the space like this. Okay? This any question so far? So there's a few tricks, not a few tricks, a few major operator that you need to pay attention to in this loop. First, you need to know that this is a nested loop. And for nested loop, the inner loop will need to reset and run to completion for every iteration of the outer loop. And in this while loop, we have the pre-operator here, pre-increment operator, which means that the value of the counter will be increased by 1 before it is compared against the condition, the ending, the termination constraint. Okay? And then with that, we will need to keep track of the value of all the variables here and put it aside the right number for us to get the correct output. For me, when handling nested loop, if you are not very familiar, using a table format like this will be very useful for you. You use this to practice. And then after a while, you can get familiar with that. You may not need to use a table, this kind of table anymore. But when you get started, how did variable I become 4? Which one? Okay, in this one, right, Joseph? Because it's 2 here. The current value of I is 2 and I plus equal to 2 become 4. Okay, this is for Nikon, why the comma here is not counted inside the 3 space? No, because it's outside here already. It is a constant. Output is not a part of the 3 space. The 3 space is assigned for this percent D and it's only assigned reserved for the output. Okay, and then if you run it, let me see my code blocks. It is like this. My code blocks is here. And if I run it, you see it, the same result like this. How did I get J to be 1, 2, and 4? Okay, how did I get J into 1, 2, and 4? Now, when I get back. Okay, that is it. Escape. Okay, get back to this one, right? Why I can get J is 1, 2, and 4. So in order to find out the value of J, we look at the inner loop here, right? The inner loop is in green here. This is my inner loop, right? The first value of J is 1, right? Because integer J is equal to 1. So first value of J is 1. Okay? For every iteration, J increase by 2 times, right? J times equal to 2 means J equal to J times 2. So it's become like 1 times 2 equal to 2. 2 times 2 equal to 4. Is it clearer, Haikam? PN. Okay. All right. Any other questions regarding this nested loop? All right. Is it clear now? So my tip for you is using the table. Get the result on the output first, and then read back the format to see how we should put the output into the given space. After you are very much more familiar with the nested loop, you may not need this table anymore. But as beginners, to me, this is very useful, useful way for you to analyze a nested loop. All right, if you don't have question, let's go to the last one, which we will need to see the impact of continue and break. I think this is the last example for you. Can you try it out? I also use the same thing. I use a table to see the execution of the loops. And if you notice in this example, right, I also have a nested loop, right? Which my nested loop is inside here. This is my inner loop, all right? This is the inner loop. And then the if. So in the inner loop, we have a continue statement. And in the outer loop, we have a break statement. And then can you state what value X after running this code? Do you want to try it out first? Okay, let's have another 5 minutes to try this out first to see what is the final value of x after we run this code. All right, we have one result already from Xin. I'm not too sure whether I pronounced your name correctly or not. So please let me know if I say it wrongly so that I can correct. Is this Xin Zhao or Sean? Sean. Okay. Okay. Any other result from anyone else? Final z equal to 2 from Jonathan. Can you rework it a bit, Jonathan? You may miss something. Benjamin, blank results. It cannot be blank result because we already initialized z to 0. Can you try it step by step? Benjamin, starting with the outer loop first, and for every iteration of the outer loop, try to run the inner loop and see whether it need to continue or break on or something. Any other result, everyone? Are you still with me or not? Sam's very good. 5, yes, 5. 2 plus 5, 5. Still working, Joseph. Good. All right, 2 more minutes to see whether you can get the result or not. The correct answer is is 5. You can try it out later in Copblocks later on, but let's work together. So remember again, this is a nested loop, right? And for every iteration of the outer loop, inner loop will reset and run to completion. So the first value of, the first value of, where is my things? The first value of x is, what is the first value of x? First value of x is 3, right? Sorry, 0. That's, and I, what is the first value of x and y? 0 and 1, right? When x equal to 0, okay, and then y will start from 1, right? Because the for loop start from 1. And with this, we will check the condition if x equal to 0 or y equal to 2. And this condition is true, right? What does it mean by that? When it is true, it will continue. It means that continue in internal the for loop, and it will not perform this statement. So this statement will be skipped because of the continued statement. Okay, and then this condition will not check because we are still running inside the this one only run after we finish the for loop. Okay, we skip the current. Remember, for continue, we skip the current iteration. And the continuous is inside the for loop. It means that we skip the current iteration of for loop and we go to the next for loop, which means that y equal to 2. And because of this condition is still true, you know, why is it still true? Because of this or condition, right? X equal to 0 or y equal to 2. So in this case, x has a value of 0 already. So both of this one is true. And that's why we have to skip the next iteration also. And then we go to the next iteration with each 3, okay? And this one, what does it mean? It exceeds because the termination condition of for loop is less than 3, okay? So when the value of y is 3, we exit for loop and we finish for loop. Now we come back to the body of the while loop here. What does it mean? We will need to check for this condition of break here. And break is both x equal to 2 and y equal to 1. But the current value of x and y is 0 and 3, which means that this condition for break is false. It means that we will not break. We'll continue with the while loop. And the value of x become plus here become 1. I pause here. Any questions? I am too fast. It may be tricky for you to follow on this continue and break inner loop, outer loop. Yes, after the for loop at this point. At this point, let me show you. At this point, when I return, when the control at the end of this one, at the end of this for loop statement, the value of y become 3 already because it increased before it check again this condition. So the value of y is already 3. 3, and then it will check for this condition. It is wrong. It is false, so we will not break, right? We continue to increase x into 1 and we check again this condition again. Okay, so we finish one iteration of y. While we will move to the second iteration for while. Now, second iteration, so y will have the same 3 sets of value, right? So starting with 1 because for loop will reset. So y will restart from 1. And then this condition is true or false. X equal to 0 or y equal to 2. It is false, right? So we will not continue, we'll execute. We'll execute the statement under this. We'll execute the statement that z equal to z plus x and y, right? And then this one will not skip anymore. We will execute it. And the value of z become 1, 0, plus 1, plus 1 equal to 2 now. The condition inside the if statement here, it will not be checked until we finish the for loop. So we continue with the for loop into value of 2 of y, and then this condition is still true or false. In this case, the condition x equal to 0 or y equal to 2, is it true or false? In this case, is it true or false? My student, is it true or false? True, because it's an or condition, right? It is true. Because if this is true, the continued statement will be executed, right? And then continue statement as executed is mean that we will skip this statement z plus equal to x plus y. We will skip it. Get it? Now we go to the next iteration, which means that y will be updated into 3, and because of the termination condition of for loop, we will terminate exit for loop first. Okay, now after we exit for loop, we run to the next one, which is the if statement here. If x equal to 2 and y equal to 1, is it true or false? In this case, false, all right, because the current value of x is 1 and y is 3. So false, so we not break, break is not happening here. We continue with the next statement, which is x plus plus here, and means that we will increase the value of x into 2, right? Because the current value of x is 1. Now we go to the next iteration of x, and we will check it again. We will check it again, the termination condition, and it is 2. Right now, it's still valid, right? Because the termination condition is less than 3 only. So it still continue, right? And similarly, we will continue with the first value of y, which is 1. Condition for continuation is false. That's why we will not skip this. We continue with this. And z value is 2. And then now it's plus the Newtonian value of x and y, which is 2 and 1 is become 5. All right. Now let's go to the next iteration of of y, which is y equal to 2, and it's become true in this case. And whenever this condition is true, z will skip, right? Similarly, up to 3, we terminate for loop. And then we continue evaluating the if statement there. And in this case, it's also true false because only x equal to 1. Y is already equal to 3. Okay, so after this, x become, then we'll take the new value of x plus us. Here it's become 3 now. So when x becomes 3, what does it mean? When x becomes 3, it will check again. It will check again the condition here. And it become true in this case. Sorry, it's become false in this case, right? The continuation condition is false in this case. That's why while loop will be terminated. And it's it. That's why the final value of z is 5. Okay, let's run this one inside Copilot. How to get z equal to 5? How to get z equal to 5 here? How to get z equal to 5 here? Right? It's 2 here, right? And then u plus x, which is 2, and plus y, which is 1. Now, z plus equal. The operator here is plus equal. Highlighter operator is z plus equal, not equal only. Is 1, and value of y is 1. So that's why I have z2 here. Okay, now the second time is executed, it will have the current value of z is 2, the value of x is 2, and the value of y is 1. All right, that's it for today. I come to the last slide for today revision already. Do you have any questions? Hi, student. Do you have any further questions regarding the revision? When we are getting the result, we tomorrow for SPE program. I still don't understand slide 11 for B and C, the percent 2D and percent 5D. Slide 11, B and C. Slide 11, is it this one? Okay, those slots like this, but the value is 1, 2, 3, right? So I will fill up the entire slot here, and we need to borrow the slot behind it to make sure that the output is correct. That's why we have 1, 2, 3.
But why does the slot not start from the right?
To go for my 1. You see this? Because previously, so space already reserved by this already. There's no space before. So it's like you are queuing up, and you have 3 persons in the queue, and you reserve 2 space, and then you still need to slot in 3 persons. You own the space, and also need to borrow the subsequent space.
So when there's not enough space, you always start from left.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Is how the final exam will be like? Will we draw our own tables from the given program? Really, the table is not kind of the tested table is a way for you to run the code manually. What is asking is more on like the final output. For example, this one, I will not asking for you this. This is my own method for you to debug the codes. But usually what is asking is something like this. Okay, is it clear to you, Jonathan? Jonathan asks is how is a final exam format will be like? Will be asking to fill in the table or not? To be clear to all of you, this table is my own method for you. Just a tip for you to learn how to debug the codes. Okay, what will be asked in exam is something like this. All right. Is any practice quiz I combine on week 1 to 4 like this the past few weeks? So this week, because this session is kind of revisions already. So I didn't put up any quiz for you right after this lecture. But if you really need to have some more practice, then I will put up some quiz for you in the later of the week. Is it okay, Joseph? So for nested loop, we complete the inner loop iteration first and check and run the outer loop. Yes. So there's the rule is for nested loop. For every iteration of the outer loop, we reset and run the inner loop entirely. Depends on the sequence, the order of the body of the outer loop. For example, in this case, the inner loop will be run first, and then the printf will run, and then the updating will run. Okay. So in any body of any structures, even in iterations or in selection, remember the basic rules for C programming is all the codes are run sequentially based on the position, based on its position in the program. Which appear first will be run first. So in this case, right, for loop is stated first, it will run first. And when it run entirely. Then after that, printf statement will run, and then the increment statement will run. This so-called stacking rule we already learned last week. We stack on statement together from 5. No, sorry, I think because it may mislead you a bit here. For 1, 2, 3, let me get back to 1, 2, 3 for you, the 1, 2, 3 example for you. So for 4D, right, percent 4D, right, when you have percent 4D, what does it mean? 1% 4D mean I give you only 4 space. This is 4 space. And if you want to print 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, it needs 3 space only, right? And then if there is no specifier, no flag, for example, it's percent 4D only. So by right, it will be right alignment. So we have 1, 2, 3 here. Is it clear now? And Manuel, then Angie, I wanted to check, will you recognize project 1 in the project group 1 of the example show? Okay, so Angie, we will discuss on the project tomorrow. But yes, there's an error in the example for you. You follow the codes. Okay? You follow the code, Angie. All right, with this, if there's no further question, let's finish the lecture today. And for SB program, I see you tomorrow. For other programs, I wish you all the best for the second part and for your class test and exam later. You follow the brief discussion. You don't in my exam, Angie, the example I give is some error, but you follow the project brief discussion to decode the system. So HVAC is number 3, right? So if I key in a number with 3, it should show the HVAC. There's an error in my example output. Okay, so all the best to students in other programs.